So, welcome to the lecture number 20 of the course. Okay. So, in the previous lecture, we derived the swing equation and we calculated the critical clearing time as well as critical clearing angle for a two machine system where we were saying that a fault occurs in one of the line. In a system, we were considering a two machine system. We were considering that these systems are connected via two transmission lines, and we consider that a fault occurs at the center of one of the transmission line. So in that case, we said still during the fault there will be some power that is flowing in the system. So basically we calculated this delta CR and TCR. We actually exploited this equal area criteria for calculating those things. So but this equal area criteria, it has a limitation, and the limitation is that equal area criteria is suitable or is applicable for analyzing the stability of a two machine system only or a single machine connected to infinite bus. Okay. So if the complexity of the system increases, I mean by complexity I mean if suppose I have 50 generators or 100 generators or 10 generators, in that case this computation, mathematical computation, it will be very complex. So there this equal area criteria, it will not be applicable. Okay, it cannot be applied. Also, we assumed in the previous example, we assumed that a fault occurs in one of the lines of a two transmission lines. The circuit was like that in the previous. I have a machine here. Machine has certain the problem was like that. So I'm saying this is one transmission line, this was another transmission line, and we assume that a fault occurs here at the center of a transmission line. So in that case, we said still we have some reactance to this fault. Okay, so still some electrical power will flow. But what will happen if the fault occurs at the extreme ends of the transmission line or on the bus where these transmission lines are connected? If it occurs on the bus, then we say that no power will flow. In that case, no electrical power will flow. Electrical power will flow only if there is some impedance to the fault. At the center of the line, circuit offers some impedance to the fault. So therefore, some electrical power flows, which was equal to 0.808 sine delta. But if the fault occurs at the extreme ends of the line or on the bus, any bus where the lines are connected, then in that case we say no electrical power will flow in the system. Okay. Also, we calculated the formula for this critical clearing angle. The formula for critical clearing angle, it was given by under root of 4h divided by omega s into critical clearing angle minus delta naught divided by P shaft. So you can say that as h increases, okay, what will happen to critical clearing time? Critical clearing time also increases. So what will happen to delta CR? If delta CR increases, critical clearing time also increases. Okay. But we know this transient stability, it depends. So we can say that transient stability depends upon certain factors like angular swing of the machine, which means how much delta will increase. Like it was like this. Angular swing means if it was initially operating at this is the angular swing. How much delta will increase? So transient stability depends upon the angular swing of the machine and critical clearing time. Okay. So both these constants, both H constant and transient reactance of the generator, which we assumed by XD dash. So H and XD of the generating unit will have direct effect on both the factors, that is swing of the machine and critical clearing time. These are two factors, no? Swing of the machine and critical clearing time. So I am saying that this transient reactance will have a direct effect on both these factors, angular swing of the machine and this critical clearing time. Okay. So this was all about the transient stability which we covered so far. So far we considered only a two machine case where we were using this equal area criteria. But this equal area criteria for a multi-machine transient stability where we can have hundreds of machines dispersed over large geographical area. Means in North India we have suppose 150 generators. So calculation of transient stability or determining the transient stability using electrical this equal area criteria, it will be very difficult. So what will happen? Complexity of the numerical computation increases with the number of machines considered in transient stability. So to reduce the complexity, some assumptions are followed while carrying on this transient stability studies. So what are those assumptions? The assumptions are, first assumption which we considered previously, that the mechanical input to each machine will remain constant during the entire period of the swing curve. Okay. So the first assumption is the mechanical power input to each machine remains constant during the entire period of the swing curve computation. Means for the complete means change in delta, means from delta naught to delta max, and from that delta max to back to delta naught, we say that machine input remains constant both during fault, under normal condition, during fault condition, and after fault condition. P shaft remains constant, and in per unit we say that P shaft remains equal to 1. Okay, mechanical input means P shaft input. So damping power is neglected. The third case is that each machine is represented by a constant transient reactance in series with the constant transient internal voltage. So what I am trying to say, that we say that each machine is represented by a constant transient reactance in series with a constant transient internal voltage. So this is the transient internal voltage, ED dash angle delta. This is XD dash, and here I have a terminal voltage VT angle delta dash, some other angle. Okay, so we say that each machine is represented by a constant transient reactance in series with a transient voltage, ED dash angle delta. Like in the previous example, we were given that the terminal voltage is 1 per unit. We was given VT was equal to 1 per unit. So at that time we again calculated ED dash. If you remember, we calculated the current flowing through this output current of the generator. Then what we did, we calculated ED dash by simply using, we know VT, we know the current, VT plus the drop in this this reactance, it will give us ED dash. Okay, this is the assumption. So each machine is represented by a constant transient reactance in series with a constant transient internal voltage. Then the next assumption is that the motor rotor angle of each machine considers with delta. What is delta? Delta is the electrical phase angle of the transient internal voltage. Like I said, ED dash angle delta. That delta is nothing but the rotor angle of the machine. Okay. So we are given loads at certain buses. We will have loads P and Q. What we do for transient stability analysis or transient stability study, we convert that load into admittance. Okay, loads are represented by admittance to ground. How do you convert admittance into this loads P and Q into admittance? Simply by using the formula Y is equal to P minus JQ by V square. Okay. Now, for transient stability analysis, we should know what is the system configuration before fault, means under normal condition, during fault, and after fault. Because configuration, if the system configuration will change, it will change the admittance matrix Y of the system. Okay, so system conditions before fault and the network configuration both during and after the occurrence of the fault, it must be known in any transient stability system. Then we calculate the transient internal voltage of each machine similarly using the formula VT plus J times XD into I, where VT is the terminal voltage and I is the output current. And how you convert the load into admittance? Y is equal to P minus JQ by V square. Okay. Okay, I can explain this further, but here simply I will explain. You know that suppose you have two machine system I am taking, or 5 machine system. Simplicity I will take simply 2. So we know that Pk plus J times Qk is the power from the ith generator, okay, or ith machine. So it will be given by the formula. You know that P plus J, let me take another page. You know, P plus JQ is equal to VI conjugate. So you know the I is equal to Y into V. So you can write P plus JQ is equal to V into, instead of I, you can write Y into V conjugate. Okay. You know V is equal to IZ and I is equal to YV. So instead of P plus JQ, you can write V into YV conjugate. So I am saying for the KS generator, okay, KS generator, PK plus J times QK is equal to VK. Suppose if I am taking a two machine system, so it will be P1, I will have P1, P2, Q1, Q2. Okay, I will have V1, V1, V2, I will have I1, I2, and I will have a 2 cross 2 this system where I will have Y11, Y12, Y21, Y22. Okay, so in this case, what will be I1? Suppose I am considering the first generator. So what will be I1? I1 will be nothing but Y11, I1, I2, Y11, Y12, Y21, Y22, V1, V2. So I1 will be nothing but Y11, V1 plus Y12, V2. Okay. So that I am applying here. I am saying P1 plus J times Q1 is equal to E1. Instead of E, I am writing E here, transient voltage, internal voltage, into Y11, E1 conjugate, Y11, V1 conjugate plus E1 into Y12, E2 conjugate. Okay. So if E1 is E1 angle delta, E2 is E2 angle delta 2. Y is nothing G plus JB. Y1 will be G11 plus J times V11 and Y12 will be Y12 angle theta 2. So I can write this P1 is equal to E1 square into what is the real part of Y11? G1. Okay, this is P plus JQ now. These are both real and imaginary terms. Imaginary will you Q and real will you P. So P will be E1 square G11 plus E1 into E2 into G into Y12. Okay, here I am not converting it to G. Here I am keeping it as same as Y12. So it is Y12. So real part of Y12 it will be cos and imaginary part of Y12 will be sine. So it will be E1 into E2 into Y12 into cos of delta 1 minus delta 2 minus theta 12. Okay. And similarly Q will be minus E1 square B11 plus E1 into E2 into Y12 multiplied by sine of delta 1 minus delta 2 into theta 12. Then I am saying that delta is nothing but delta 1 minus delta 2 and gamma I am taking another angle gamma and I am saying that gamma is nothing but theta 12 minus pi by 2. Okay. So next step is, if you know the system conditions and system configuration both during and after the fault, calculate the pre-fault bus admittance matrix. Okay. Next assumption is injected current is 0 at all buses except the internal bus of the generator. By that mean, at all the buses we have current 0 except the bus where we have a generator. Suppose I am taking this case. I have machine 1. Machine 1 is connected at bus 1, machine 2 is connected at bus 2, and machine 3 is, this is infinite bus. Machine 3 is infinite bus. Infinite bus. Okay. This bus is bus 3, where we have this machine. We are representing but an infinite source. Okay. So, what I am saying, where I have current injections, I have 3 sources, 1, 2, and 3. Only at these 3 buses I will have current injections. Rest at all the buses 4, 5. These 2 buses, I will say that current injection is equal to 0. I will have current injection at bus 1, at bus 2, and at bus 3. Rest I4 will be equal to 0 and I5 will be equal to 0. That's what I am writing here. Injected current is 0 at all bus except the internal bus of the generator. Internal bus of the generator is here, 1 and 2. So obtain the bus admittance matrix during fault, after fault, and before fault, and reduce them by using the Cron's reduction. So during and after the fault, the power flow into the network from each generator is calculated by corresponding power angle equation, that is d square delta h upon pi f is equal to d square delta upon dt square is equal to p mechanical minus p electrical. So it is written here, during and after the fault the power flow into the network from each generator, means from generator 1 it will be electrical power 1, from generator 2 it will be electrical power 2. So it is calculated from a generator, it is calculated by using the corresponding power angle equation. So this is the problem. We have three machine system, generator 1 and generator 2. We have generator at bus 1 and bus 2. So at generator 1, bus 1 we have generator 1, and this is the rating of the generator. It is a 400 MVA generator, 20 kilovolt. Transient reactance is 0.067 per unit, and inertia constant is 11.2 megajoule. Similarly, generator 2, it is 250 MVA, 18 kilowatt. Transient reactance is, internal reactance is 10 per unit, and inertia constant is 8 megajoule per MVA. So delta 2 will be equal to nothing but delta 1 minus delta 2. Okay. So what will be the electrical power from this generator? It will be nothing but E1 square into G11 plus E1 into E2 into Y12 into cos theta into cos delta 1 minus theta 12 plus E1 into E3 into Y13 into cos delta 13 minus delta minus theta 13. Okay, this theta, it depends upon y, and delta is the angle between bus in delta 13 is nothing but delta 1 minus delta 3, which is the difference between the voltage at bus 1 and voltage at bus 3, and delta 12 is nothing but the difference in the voltage at bus 1 and bus 2. And you know that formula for swing equation, 2h upon omega is d square delta upon dt square is equal to pm minus pe. I means at the ith bus or ith generator. Okay. So what we have to do first, some more data is available to us in a tabular form. So the data available is, we are given the load at different buses, means that generator 1 and 2 we are given P and Q. These are the generator buses. Bus 3rd is a infinite bus, voltage and magnitude, voltage is 1 and angle is 0. Bus 4 and 5, they are the load buses where P and Q are given. Okay, this is load, this is generator. You can see it from the diagram as well. At bus 1 generation, bus 2 generation, bus 3 infinite bus 4 we have load L4, and bus 5 we have load L5. These are the line resistance and reactances. And we have two bus 3 and bus 4, they are connected via two transmission lines. Sorry, this is bus 3 and bus 5. They are connected via two transmission lines. Okay, and the resistance and reactance of each line is given here. They are same. Okay, and this thing here at both the ends of the line, so it is nothing but it is the shunt susceptance B. B is 0.082 by 2. By 2 I am taking because it was 0.082. So at half year and half year it is 0.082 by 2, 0.082 by 2. Okay. Yes. So what is I into V1, I1 into V1 conjugate? I1 into V1 conjugate, because I wanted to calculate the E1 dash and E2 dash. V1 conjugate is, V1 is given to us 1.03 into angle 8.88. These are the terminal voltages of the buses. So I know the terminal voltage. Okay. So can I calculate current? Yes, I can calculate current. It is easy. So now I1 V1 conjugate P plus JQ conjugate. Okay, because we know P plus JQ is equal to VI conjugate. So if I want to calculate I will take I P conjugate is equal to P plus JQ whole conjugate. So from here I can calculate, which implies I will be equal to, I1 will be equal to P. What is P at bus 1? P is 3.5. What is Q? 0.712. P minus JQ divided by V1 conjugate. V1 is 1.030 angle 8.88. So taking conjugate, it will be 1.030 angle minus 8.88. Here I have committed a mistake. I have written Q as 0.172. It is 0.712. Okay. So it comes out to be 3.468 angle 2.619. This is my I1. This is I1. Similarly, I2, P2 minus J times Q2 divided by V2 conjugate, it will give you I2. So you can calculate E1 dash and E2 dash easily. E1 dash is nothing but terminal voltage plus the drop in the internal reactance. This is terminal voltage. This is the drop in the internal reactance, because this is the current and this is the reactance. So you will get E1. Similarly, you can calculate E2. At infinite bus, we know E3 dash is nothing but E3, which is equal to 1 angle 0. Okay, because we don't consider any reactance in the infinite source. Okay, so delta 1 3 will be equal to delta 1, and delta 2 3 will be equal to delta 2. Okay, means angle of rotor angle of bus 1 with respect to bus 3 will be equal to the rotor angle of bus 1, and rotor angle of bus 2 with respect to bus 3 will be equal to the rotor angle of the generator 2. Okay, which is nothing but the angle of the transient internal source. Okay, or transient internal voltage. So converting the loads to admittances, this is load at bus 4 is 1 and 0.4. So you can convert into admittance. It is P minus JQ by V square, P minus JQ by V square, and at 5 P minus JQ by V square. So you have YL4, YL5 as well. You know the line resistance reactances. Now you have to make the bus admittance matrix Y bus, which will be how many buses are there? If you will see the diagram, how many buses are there? Bus 1, bus 2, bus 3, bus 4, and bus 5. We have a 5 bus system, so it will be a 5 bus 5 cross 5 system. So here I have calculated few elements. Y11 is nothing but the if you will see this Y11. So what is Y11? Y11, we have one reactance here. This is the reactance of the transformer, plus I have a generator which has some reactance, which is given by the transient reactance as 0.067. So at bus 1 is connected to two reactances. So here I am calculating. I have to calculate the admittance, so I will take the reciprocal of the reactances. So 1 divided by J 0.022 plus J 0.067. So I will calculate Y11 here. Okay, so Y14 also calculated. Y34, Y44. Now Y44 is connected to what? Let us see what Y44 is connected to what. If you can see Y44, it is connected to this reactance. It is connected to this line, this plus this line, plus half of this and this 0.082 divided by 2, 0.0226 divided by 2, plus the load here. Okay, so here I am saying it. YL4 is nothing but this minus J11.336. It is nothing but this the transformer reactance when I am converting that into admittance. This is the admittance of the line 1-4. These are the two shunt susceptances. So this is the admittance of the line between bus 4 and 5. And this is the load at the bus 4 which has been converted into the admittance. So which will give me Y44. Similarly, Y33 is also calculated. Y55 I have calculated here. Okay, so this will give me a complete bus admittance matrix, which is a Y bus, which is a 5 cross 5. Okay, so if I have to calculate this PE1, so I have to calculate Y11, Y12, Y13, Y14, Y15. However, I have currents at how many buses? Bus 1, 2, and 3 only. So why to use this 5 cross 5 matrix? Why not to convert this matrix into a smaller matrix, which will give me the same effect or same currents or power which I can calculate from this bigger matrix. So I will convert this big matrix into a small matrix. So before converting it to a small matrix, suppose I am saying this is the before fault matrix. Bus, this is before fault. Okay, 5 cross 5 system is healthy. So I am saying that a fault occurs on a line. Let me see which line is there. see, fault occurs here or somewhere here. Okay, it is near bus 4. So what will happen to during fault? What will happen to during fault in this case? During fault for calculating the Y admittance during fault, this was the before fault now, 5 cross 5. So during fault we are saying it is near bus 4 now. It is near bus 4. So what you do, you remove the bus and column corresponding to 4. Means this is the bus Y fourth row. Remove the row and column, fourth row and 4 column. So if the fault is near bus 2, you will remove the bus second row and second column. But now I am saying the fault is near bus 4. Near bus 4, so remove the fourth row and fourth column. If I will remove the fourth row and fourth column, suppose this row and this column is not there. Fourth row and fourth column is not there. This fourth row and fourth column I am removing, assuming that the fault occurs near bus 4. What will happen? The system will look like this. Okay, look here, I have removed bus 4 and column 4. So this is during fault. Y bus during fault. Now this is the 4 cross 4. I want to convert into a 3 cross 3 matrix. So what I will do, 3 cross 3 means we will keep K 3 cross 3. Then this is L in L transpose and M. So what was the formula? Formula was reduce K minus L M inverse L transpose. If you will calculate this formula, if you will use this formula, this is quite a tedious or lengthy method. So you will get Y reduced during fault to be equal to Y reduced during fault will be equal to this. So this will be the Y reduced during fault. Yes, by calculating these two, you will get this here. So this is Y reduced during fault. So when the fault is on the system, the desired swing equation, firstly we will say when the system was healthy, d square delta 1 upon dt square. When the fault is on the system, the desired swing equation becomes d square delta 1 upon dt square. This is during fault. Will be pi f upon h1 pm1 minus pe1. So 180 f by h1 180 f by h1 into pm1 minus pe1. It is nothing but accelerating power pa1. Okay, so this accelerating power will come out to be 3.5. If you will calculate, it will come out to be 3.5. Yes, here I have calculated PE. PE1 will be equal to 0 because the fault is near bus 4. PE1 equal to 0. First bus will not. So there will be no power from generator 1 because I am saying the fault is near bus 4. So there, the net power at this bus, it will be 0. No power will flow from this bus. So this bus is connected to generator 1. So PE1 will be equal to 0. So what will be PE2 in that case? So in that case, PE2 will be E2 square G22 plus E2 E3 Y23 cos of delta 23 minus theta 23. E2 dash is 1.065. G22, what is G22? G22 is this real part of Y22 is G22. So it is 0.1362. G22 is 0.1362 plus E2 dash into E3 dash into Y23 magnitude into cos of delta 23 minus delta 3. Delta 2 minus delta, this delta 23 is delta 2 because at delta 3 angle is 0. So it will be delta 2 minus theta 23 will be 90.765. You will calculate it from this. This is the Y22 now. From this you can calculate. Sorry, Y23. Y23 you have to take here. So it will give you PE2 is equal to this. Okay. So from here you are calculating, it will be accelerating power will be 3.5. So from for this d square delta 2 upon dt square will be 180 f upon h2 pm2 minus pe2, which is nothing but pa2. So if I will substitute this pm2 is this 180 upon pi f by h. pm2 I am saying mechanical power is 1.85. This is the electrical power 0.154 plus point this into delta 2 minus 0.715. 0.715 is nothing. I have calculated it here. It is 90.755 minus pi by 2. It is 0.755. So cos will be converted into sine. So sine of delta 2 minus 0.755. This will give you the swing equation of the machine of during the fault. This is machine 2. This is machine 1. Okay. So y reduced after fault will be this. Okay. So y reduced after fault will be this. Means after fault means no, we have restored the line. And how will you restore the line? Means after the fault means we have removed the bus. This bus where means after the fault means we have removed this line. If we have removed this line means y, what will be y45? Y45 will be 0. Okay, then again this whole bus admittance matrix will change, and again then you have to calculate the reduced bus admittance matrix. Okay, so then you will get y reduced after fault will be this. Again you will calculate PE1 and PE2, and then again you will calculate d square delta 1 upon d square delta 2, d square delta 1 upon dt square, d square delta 2 upon dt square, which is quite a tedious task. It is not easy. Okay, this P mechanical 1 is equal to 3.5 and P electrical mechanical 2 is equal to 1.8. I haven't mentioned it in the question, I think, or have I? No, I haven't mentioned it anywhere. What is P mechanical 1 and P mechanical 2? Okay, P mechanical 1 is 3.5 and P mechanical 2 is 1.8. Okay. Only because if you will take P mechanical 1 is equal to 3.5, then you will get this equation. Now, P mechanical 1 is 3.5 during fault and P electrical 1 is 0, because at bus 4 we have 0 power. So P electrical 1 will be equal to 0. So it will be accelerating power will be equal to P mechanical 1, which is equal to 3.5. Okay, P mechanical 2 is, I am saying it is 1.85. So 1.85 minus P electrical 2 here. And after fault, P electrical 1 and P electrical 2 will change. So you will have P mechanical 1 3.5 minus P electrical 1, you will get this. And after fault you will have this is during fault, and after fault you will have P mechanical 1.85 minus P electrical, so it will come out to be this. So this is the angular acceleration. Angular acceleration. Yes. Okay. Here I have calculated the formula for when fault is cleared, means y reduced after fault. I am saying y reduced after fault means when I have cleared the fault. I am saying I have cleared the fault. So what will be the term? 4, 5. Yes, here I said now. How will you clear the fault? By removing the faulty line, the line which was connected between bus 4 and 5. So if you will remove that line, what will be y45? Y45 here it is the fourth line, fifth column, y45 is 0, and y54 will also be equal to 0. So this will change. So because of this change, you will get a new reduced admittance matrix 3 cross 3 here, which I am using here. Okay. So please go through this example, this numerical example yourself, as it is not easy to teach. Means this problem, this using this mobile camera. Okay. So this problem is available on this your Stevenson book, Power System Analysis by Stevenson, under the heading Multi-Machine Transient Stability. Solve this single problem. Okay. Your doubts will be cleared, and in case you will face any problem in understanding this problem, you know what to do. You can call me. Okay. Thank you very much.